You know, when you pick up a Seiichi Yokomizo mystery, you recognize right off the bat that they picked up more than a few things from Agatha Christie. They include isolated settings, complex mysteries, and eccentric detectives. What he adds to the Christie formula is a distinctly Japanese flavor, a kind of gothic feeling, along with a lot of respect for family trees. Now, Yokomizo's book, The Inugami Curse, I think provides a useful framework for comparing two of the world's greatest detectives, Hercule Poirot and Kosuke Kindaichi. With Poirot, you're getting a transplanted Belgian with an enormous ego and a mustache that could actually have its own zip code. He's the kind of guy who takes a speck of dust as a personal insult. And he brags that he's able to solve murders using only his little gray cells. Now, on the other hand, with Kosuke Kindaichi, you've got an unassuming detective who looks like he just crawled out of a laundry basket. He's a Class A mess. He stammers. And when he gets excited and finds a clue, he scratches his head like he's trying to find a thought that got lost someplace in his hair. Before comparing their approaches, let's take a look at this mystery first. Now, here it is. This guy, Inugami, was a multi-millionaire businessman who left behind a super complex will that seems designed to pit potential heirs against one another. And it does that in spades, triggering a series of ritualistic murders. Initially, Kindaichi gets called in to see if he can prevent these murders. He doesn't succeed in preventing them, so he sets out to see who the murderer is. His investigation requires him to deal with poisoned cigarettes, disguises, forged papers, and ritually staged murder scenes. He attacks the mystery by more or less absorbing the cultural context they're taking place in. In particular, that includes the condition of post-war Japan. Most important of all is this guy Inugami's family tree. Now, Kindaichi in the book seems to be constantly assessing the suspect's emotions, trying to pick up the vibes that'll lead him to the killer. And of course, he ultimately gets there. Now, you may recall Kindaichi used the same techniques when he solved the Hanjin murders. Lots of attention to family relationships and to this tension between post-war Japan and its feudal traditions. If this were Poirot's case, you know he'd start off by complaining about the lack of central heating in this part of Japan. He'd assume that the macabre aspect of these murders was just a smokescreen designed to distract them from the identity of the killer. He'd also, I think, ignore the emotional conflicts between the various suspects, except to the extent that he could use them to identify motivation and opportunity. His approach would be clinical, and it'd be all about cold logic. Now, what I'm saying is, Kindaichi is a lot about feelings, about atmosphere, and intuition. Poirot is all about microscopic details and cold logic. Now, I think Seiichi Yokomizo is almost as good as Agatha Christie. I'm saying almost as good, but I'll tell you what, that's very, very good indeed. Well, that's my comparison between Poirot and Kindaichi. That's it for this week. I'll see you next week.